When you're playing the piano, does your left hand often sound a little bit boring? One of the biggest things I notice when I hear people play is that their left hand often feels quite static, just holding down the chords without much movement. But what if you could take that simple chord and turn it into a rich, expressive, flowing pattern that really brings your playing to life? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, no matter what style you're playing. Let's do it. Okay, let's break down what's going on here. So I'm going to be showing you 3 different left-hand patterns, and this is the first one. This is like a big arpeggio, right? So we're on a G chord here, and that is essentially the pattern. I'll do it once more for you. So what exactly are these notes? Well, on a G chord, there's our root position G chord, and you can see we're using some of those notes in this pattern. We're starting off with the root in our little finger, then we're going to the 5th. Now we're then adding in a note, okay? This is like a little color note. This is our 2nd, sometimes known as the 9th as well. It's an A. And then from that 2nd, we're going up to the 3rd. And I'm actually using my thumb to play both of those. So watch this, there's the whole pattern. You see I did my little finger, then I used my 2nd finger on the D, and then I used my thumb to play those next notes. And I'm actually using the pedal to hold it down and sustain that whole pattern. Have a listen. Do it again. You can hear that each note kind of is sustained by the pedal. So rather than just doing it on one chord, let's have a go at taking this pattern through a whole chord sequence. The chord sequence we're going to look at goes G, A minor 7, F, and then C. Those are the root notes of our chord sequence. So if I look at applying it, we've already got that shape on the G chord. What would it look like on the A minor 7? Well, we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to go root, 5th, 9th, or the 2nd, that color note, and then up to the 3rd, okay? There it is, okay? We've got A, E, B, and C. Okay, I'll play it all in one go. There it is. You can hear all those notes ringing on because I'm using that sustain pedal as well. So if I put both of our chords together so far, we've got... You see, it creates this really lovely kind of rippling texture. Let's do the same thing on the next chord, which is F. We've got the root, we've got the 5th, we've got the 2nd or the 9th, and we've got the 3rd. Okay, there it is. F, C, G, and A. And then lastly, on the C chord, we've got C, G, D, and E, the root, the 5th, the 9th, and the 3rd. Then I'm interchanging what I'm doing. I'm sometimes calling it the 9th or the 2nd. It really doesn't matter. They're both kind of the same thing in this context here. So let's have a go at playing the whole pattern all the way through. Here we go. There it is. Now, to help you kind of work through all of this, I've put together a lesson book with all of these patterns written out for you. It's completely free. The link to download is in the video description, or you could also scan this QR code right up here. I'd really recommend downloading that lesson book and kind of having it in front of you when you're working through these examples. It's really going to help you get everything under your fingers. Okay, let's add in our right hand now. We just want our right hand to be playing simple chords to outline the harmony. So here's what I'm going to do here. On the G chord, that's the shape I'm going to play. It's just a regular G major triad, and I've added in that color note there. We've got a D, a G, an A, and a B. Then when I move to the A minor 7, I'm just going to play a regular C major triad. It's a C major triad in first inversion. There it is. Then when I move to the F chord, there's the shape in my right hand. We've got a C, an F, a G, and an A. Interestingly, it's pretty much the same notes I'm using in my left hand. You can see in my left hand, when I play the pattern, I'm going F, C, G, A. And in my right hand, I'm playing C, F, G, A. It's all kind of the same thing we're doing here. We're just rearranging the notes to give us these patterns. Okay, and lastly, when we go to that C chord, we've got a C, a D, an E, and a G. Those are our right hand shapes we're going to be using. I'll play the whole thing through hands together. Here we go. You can see it just really flows. There we go. Okay, this is pattern number 2. You can see all these patterns I'm showing you, they're a little bit more interesting than just playing a root position chord and arpeggiating it. That can get very repetitive and quite boring and quite predictable. But you see, these patterns, they sound so much more musical. It's quite hard to play and talk at the same time, but you get what I mean, they flow a little bit better. So, what is going on here? Well, we're essentially using the same notes, we're rearranging them in a different order and playing a slightly different rhythm. So I'll break it down for you just on the G chord to begin with. Here it is. I'll do that again for you. So what's going on? Well, I'm playing a G, the root, then I'm playing the 5th, then I'm jumping up to the 3rd, okay? Up to the 3rd, which is a B on the G chord, and then we're coming down to the A, which is the 2nd or the 9th, and then back to the root, okay? And the rhythm I'm doing is this. You can hear it's quite syncopated. If I break it down really slowly and count along, check this out. We're actually using the 16th note here, so it goes 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. One more time. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. That's the pattern, okay? I've written it all out for you in that lesson book, so do download it and check it out. If I apply that to the other chords in the sequence, we're then going on to an A minor 7, so it would look like this. There's the pattern on the A minor 7. So if I take you through that, we've got the root, the 5th, the 3rd, 2nd, and then back to the root again, okay? There's the pattern. Then our next chord is the F chord. There it is, F, C, A, G, F. Sometimes it's easier to think of numbers, sometimes it's easier to think of the note names depending on kind of the way you process things. I tend to do both, which means you're kind of thinking in two different languages. You can either think F, C, A, G, F, or you can think of the root, the 5th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the root. All depends kind of how you best process music. We're then going to go to a C, and there it is on our C chord. Just a quick thing about how I'm actually playing these with my fingers. I'm actually using my thumb for all of those. Now you don't have to do that. What you could do is that kind of thing. That also works. And remember, you also want to be using the pedal on each of them. There it is, okay? All depends what feels most natural for you under the fingers. Let's have a go at now adding in our right hand with that. Here's the whole thing. There it is. Okay, let's have a look at pattern number 3. Okay, there's a little bit more going on in this one. It's a bit more complex. It's got a bit more syncopation in it as well. Let me break down the pattern really slowly in my left hand, just so you can see it step by step. I'll do it again for you. So you can see I'm going root, then I'm going up to the 5th, then I'm going up to the 2nd, which is up there, that A, back to the 5th, up to the 3rd, down to the 2nd, down to the root, okay? It's quite a long pattern here. I'll do it really slowly again. Okay, it's all written out for you in that lesson book, so do check it out. Okay, if I bring that onto the A minor 7 now, it looks like this. There it is. Then it goes to the F. And then lastly the C. There it is. Now, the interesting thing here is the rhythm. Quite a lot of it is offbeat. Okay, so I'm going to count along just on that G chord so you can really see where each of the notes fall. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. I'll do it again. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. You can see that top note there, that B, that lasts for a whole beat on beat 3. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. There it is. Okay, let's now have a go at adding in our right hand with that. There's quite a lot of dexterity in this one. If you're finding it hard to kind of get this down, take it super slow. Or even slower if you have to, you know, find a speed that really works. And then work it up to speed. That's really going to help you. There are a couple of other things I'm doing here. I'm not actually using too much pedal when I'm playing this. In fact, I'm not using the pedal at all. Listen to what happens if I do use the pedal though. Listen. Here it goes. It just becomes a little bit mushy. Everything starts to blend into each other and it's just not as clean. So keep it quite snappy. Our right hand here is kind of filling that sustained role, isn't it? So our left hand's being a bit more jumpy. One thing you can do though, if you want to take this to the next level, is hold the root down while you're playing the rest of the pattern in your left hand. Now this is next level again. This is quite complicated to do. And I've always thought that holding one note down in your hand is so hard when you're trying to play something else in that hand at the same time. Can you see I'm holding down that root note all the way through in my little finger, whatever chord I'm on, and I'm playing the rest of the pattern up here. It just means you have that sustained sound in the low end all the way through. Just one of those really busy patterns that just seems to work in so many different contexts. Have a go, try it out. Now, even if you've got these left hand patterns down, it might feel like you're still missing a bit of a creative spark in your playing. Well, that's where piano fills come in. Piano fills can help connect your chords, glue everything together and make everything feel seamless. So I've broken down in this video up here my full system for coming up with creative piano fills. Go give that video a click and I'll see you over there.